Okay, this is a short little video going over graphing systems of inequalities. So a couple things we need to make sure we know. The solution is the double region, shaded region. Also, I'm going to show you how to do it by hand, but then I'm also going to show you decimals. So make sure you're paying attention there. If it has a or equal, like this does, that means it is a solid line. So your line's going to go like this. And if it is, it doesn't have an or equal, then it's a dashed. All right, so let's get started. I have my system of inequalities is y is less than or equal to x plus 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is find my slope and my y-intercept. My slope is 1 and my y-intercept is 5. So I'm going to go over here to this graph and go to 5 on the y-axis. My slope is 1, so up 1 over 1. Now it does have a or equal to, so it's going to be a solid line. Now I need to determine if I'm going to shade the top or the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in a point. I'm going to plug in 0, 0. Plug in that point right there because it's easiest, and we're going to see if it's satisfied. So 0 is less than or equal to 0 plus 5. 0 is less than or equal to 5. Is that true? Yes, 0 is less than 5. So then I'm going to shade the bottom part. The part that includes the point we put in to satisfy the inequality. Now let's go to the second inequality. Y is greater than negative x plus 3. My slope is negative 1. My y-intercept is 3. So I'm going to go to I'm going to go to 3. I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. And it's not or equal to, so that means it is a dashed line. Now we're going to plug in, again, 0, 0, because it doesn't go through the line, for this to see if it's true. So 0 is greater than negative 0 plus 3. 0 is greater than 3. Is 0 greater than 3? No. So then that means I'm going to shade above this graph. Go this way, actually. So my solution to these systems of inequalities are anything in this double shaded region. Any point. All right, now let's talk about how to do it on decimals. You're going to grab the first inequality, sketch it on paper, grab the second inequality, and then shade the shared region. So I have 3x minus 2y is less than or equal to 4. So I'm going to go to decimals. 2x, I already forgot, minus 2y is less than or equal to 4. It's less than or equal to 4. So this I graphed. I'm going to see where it crosses. So it crosses 2, 0, and then it looks like 0, negative 1.3. So let's go 2, 0, and then it's just going to be barely past negative 1. And then it is a solid line because it's or equal. So I'm just going to sketch this here. That's all I'm going to do right now. Now I'm going to go to the next one and plug that in. X plus 3y is less than or equal to 6. So now I'm going to graph this one. So it looks like it grows at 6, 0, and 0, 2. So I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, and 0, 2. It is also a solid line. Now I'm going to go back to my graph and see where this is the double shaded right here. So I'm going to show that over here. So then my solutions, let's make it a little bit darker. My solutions would be anything in between this double shaded or this shaded region, because I'm only shading the solutions for this. Also, you need to know that if the point is on to like 2, 0, that is a solution because the line is or equal to. All right, so we have one more of these, and then we're going to have 2 more different examples. So let's again just graph this. So I'm going to go back to my Desmos. I'm going to get rid of these. I have negative y is less than or equal to 3x plus 4. 3x plus 4. So then it's at 0, negative 4, and about negative 1.30. So we're going to go a little past negative 1 and negative 4. It is a or equal, so we're just going to make sure, okay. There we go. Now we're going to graph the second one. Negative 3x, I believe it was, plus 3y. I think it was less than negative 9. All right, so again, 0, looks 3, 0, and 0, negative 3. This is a dashed line because it doesn't have an or equal to. And then I'm going to shade this double shaded region. So I'm going to shade this right here. Just like that. All right, let's look at this one. What is the system of inequalities shown by the graph? So the easiest way to do this, and I'm just going to be very honest with you, is going to be to look like you're going to do an equation and then guess and check on Desmos. So first I'm going to look here at the blue line, and I'm going to find my slope and my y-intercept. I'm going to change this to blue so we can identify it to the blue line. My y-intercept is negative 4. My slope is up 1 over 2, positive 1/2. So I'm going to have y 1/2 x minus 4. Now I also know it's going to be a solid line, so it's or equal to. Now if I wanted to do this by hand, I would just simply say, okay, let's plug in 0, no, we want to plug in a point that is a solution. So let's do 5, negative 2. So I'd have negative 2, 1/2, and actually I'm going to change it to 6, negative 2, just because it's a little bit easier to, a little bit user friendly. It's not as, it's going to come out more even. 1/2 times 6, it's a 6, minus 4. So negative 2, that's 3 minus 4, negative 2, negative 1. So it's negative 2, and we want this to be a solution. So it's going to be less than or equal to. So once I'm going to put this right over here, I guess. We'll put it in purple. Y is less than or equal to 1/2 x minus 4. So I'm going to go over here and just y is less than or equal to 1/2 x plus, oh, I think it was minus 4, actually, minus 4. Is that, yep, that looks good right there. So now I'm going to look at my red line. We're going to use pink because it's close to red. My, oh, that didn't switch colors. There we go. My slope and my y-intercept. My y-intercept is 0. My slope is up 2 over 1, so my slope is negative 2. So I'm going to have y negative 2x. Now, it's not an or equal because it's a dashed line. So a couple different things you can do. You can guess. You can do like we just did where you plug in a point in this solution, I can plug in the same exact point, or I can just go to Desmos and I can just kind of guess and check. So I'm going to say y is greater than negative 2x. If we did less than, I'm just going to show you what. See how that does not look the same. So I would have just switched and said, oh, that looks like my graph over here. So it has to be greater than. So this is my system of inequalities right there. All right, this says the graph of the system of inequalities is below. Shade the appropriate region. Name one point that is a solution and one point that is not. So I am just going to go to Desmos again. Y is greater than or equal to 3/4 x minus 1. And then I'm going to have 2x plus y is less than negative 8. So the double region is in between right over here, so it's going to be this right here. So let me go ahead and graph that, or shade. So this is where you would shade. And it wants to know one solution, one non-solution. So one solution would be any point in the shaded area. It can be on the red line, but it cannot be on the blue line because the blue line is dashed. So I'm just going to pick this point right here, which is -7, -3. And then a non-solution in S is going to be anywhere over here. So it could be 6, 6 would be a non-solution. Make sure you're asking if you have questions. See you in class.